thank you for waking us all up out here.
For all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic.
I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Daybreak with Drew Steele.
Hey, good morning, Southwest Florida. Glad you're here. 239-479-5592. So I'm looking at the headlines yesterday. Sorry. Because you have to hear it in context. Byron Donalds expresses nostalgia for the Jim Crow era. I'm just going to stop right there. Okay, and then there are other headlines. Washington Post talking about the Jim Crow era, families were stronger, and all of these different headlines popped up. Now, as soon as I read that, I'm thinking, okay, what did he say? What exactly was said? And then when I heard it in context, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, anything and everything that they can do to go after, quite honestly, conservatives, Republicans, and anybody, especially in Trump's orbit, who might even be suggested as a possible vice presidential candidate. You knew that was going to happen. Hey, I wonder what he thinks. Oh, look at this. He's here. It's Congressman Byron Donalds. How are you?
I'm good, Drew. Look, I'll be straight with you. I'm fighting mad right now because, you know, the other night in Philadelphia was a great event.
Yeah.
And so we were just talking about really just black families. It's kind of what evolved in the conversation. People from the audience were engaged. They were talking about issues. We actually had a black woman from Philadelphia who was talking about how, you know, when she was a Democrat, how their ideology she really saw the destruction of so many families. And then Wesley Hunt, who was also in Philadelphia with me, was talking about how in his family, his mother and his father were together and how that really helped him. And then it switched to me, and I got in. And if you watch the full audio, that's when I started talking about my father and my mother.
I have it, yeah.
And, you know, all that stuff. But anyway, the only point is that, you know, stop. I'm not even going to explain it. My words are my words. What I don't like is the media. And really what happened is this is the Biden campaign who's looking for something because they're terrible and they suck. So the Biden campaign, I guess, read some article from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and they read between the lines to say that I'm being nostalgic about Jim Crow. Man, this is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. So it's not even a defense mode. I'm basically just defending my position and putting my own words out there and telling people, just look at what I said. And if that's what you want to grab from what I said, then you're playing politics. You're spinning. You're lying and you're gaslighting. And I'm not going to participate in that.
Right.
But I'm also not going to go put my head in the sand, which is why, I was on CNN last night talking about this.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
I watched it. And, it's so funny because yesterday I'm talking to Trish Regan and I'm having a conversation about this. And I said, here's what's going to happen. Here's what Congressman Byron Donalds will do. Because this is how he is. He's going to go on to CNN. They're going to invite him, and he's going to talk about it. And it's exactly what you did. They played the audio in context. At least they gave you that. And then when you hear the audio in context, it's like, wait a minute. Everything that everybody's been saying is wrong. And do you mind if I do that? Can I play the audio? Ahead. Okay. So all right. So for everybody, this is important. So CNN was kind enough to play it in context, which is really important when you hear exactly what was said, and then you'll see how ridiculous these attacks are. So here it is in context.
I grew up with my mom. My dad and my mom, things didn't work out. As an adult, I look at my father and I say, bro, I don't know what happened, but you my father and I love you.
Wow.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
Wow.
But I'm going to tell you this. Growing up, the one thing I knew I wanted to do, and this is not about my father, this is about what I wanted to do, is I wanted to be a father to myself.
Wow.
And so one of the things that's actually happening in our culture what you're now starting to see in our politics is the reinvigoration of black families with younger black men and black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a black middle class in America. You see, during Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people are always a bit conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. What's happened in America the last 10 years, and I say it because it's my contemporaries, it's Wesley's contemporaries, you're starting to see more black people be married in homes, raising kids. It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, now wait a minute, time out. This does not look right. How can I get something to my kids? It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth. Not just having a job, generational wealth.
And I said right after I talked to Trish, I said he's going to go on the CNN, and it's going to be an opportunity. Because first of all, there you are. You hear it in context, and you see exactly what you said. And then it's like, guess what? He gets to talk about what the discussion should be, which is about black families and being together and how important that is and how the left has taken it to what they do, which is to destroy. Black Lives Matter was all about destroying the family. That is the MO. So you had the opportunity to go into a place that people don't expect you to go because you had to cower somewhere in a corner and say you were sorry. No. Have the conversation, go on CNN, and then get to explain exactly what's going on. And I'm glad that you went on there. And that's what you said. There it is. So where's
That's what I said.
Yeah. So what's the...
You know what's funny, Drew?
Yeah.
So I guess yesterday the Congressional Black Caucus put out a statement saying that they demanded an apology from me. And I looked at my team and I said, they get no apology. I'm not apologizing for anything because I'm not apologizing for what they assumed that I said. If you want to assume stuff out of my words, then you have a problem. That's your fault. That's not mine. And I think that it's really important that as we move through not just this election cycle, but through so many of the issues in our country, we got to start talking about history as it was. And so that's why last night with CNN, Abby Phillips started talking about, but black people look at Democrats for passing civil rights and voting rights. And I said, well, if we're going to talk about that, let's be factual. Lyndon Johnson was president, but it was Republicans in the Senate, and I didn't even get to the Republicans in the House. They were the ones who provided the votes to get that done. Yep. And at that time in America, most of the seats in Congress were Democrat seats. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, they were filibustered by Democrats in the Senate, led by Robert Byrd and many others. Robert Byrd was a mentor to Joe Biden when Joe Biden got into the Senate. So if we're going to talk about what's real and what's not, talk about that Joe Biden's mentor was Robert Byrd. Robert Byrd was a lawyer for the Klan. Yep. That's the history in the United States. Let's be real about it. And if you really want to get technical, but Abby would not let me talk that long. She decided she wanted to be in lecture mode, and that's fine. That's her show. But if you're going to be truly honest, you have one of the aides to Lyndon Johnson who said in his memoir that Lyndon Johnson didn't even want to do the Civil Rights Act. But the only reason why he did it is because he wanted to make sure that he had black people voting Democrat for a generation. And he didn't use black people. He used the N-word. That's the history, if we're going to be real about it.
And the only way that the people will hear the truth is if you go where they are. And by going on CNN, they get to hear it. Because they're not going to do it themselves. They're not going to say it. And so the fact that you were there and were able to not only clarify, like you needed to clarify, you didn't have to. The audio spoke for itself, which was so amazing to me. It's like, after the audio played, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, so, and what? And I don't think she had an answer either. She was uncomfortable. I think even she realized that there's no there, so we have to find a there. But that's
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, Drew, because I had a chance to watch it last night. When you do these interviews, you really don't get the flow of it until you sit down and see it.
Right.
Got a chance to see it last night. And I said, you know what? The fact that she had to play it at the top, the full audio, it did put her in a different posture. Because if I had not released the full audio, because that's what happened, I released the full audio, and I think the post we put out was to Hakeem Jeffries, was to the Biden campaign, was to Joe Biden, actually, to Hakeem Jeffries, to the NAACP president, and to Jamie Harrison, the head of the DNC. And I tagged them all in it. And I said, don't twist my words. Look at the video for itself. And by the way, don't clip my words for politics. I'm going to be watching what you do.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that I responded so quickly with the full audio put them back on their heels. And at the end of the day, you cannot be afraid of these people. You have to take them head on because they will try to do anything to gaslight people, to lie. I mean, look, Joe Biden been gaslighting all week. This border executive order, that thing is a joke. That thing is straight trash. He's going to say that we're not going to do anything until 912 or 920 illegal immigrants cross the southern border seeking asylum. He didn't talk about gotaways.
Right.
He's not talking about unaccompanied minors, and he's not talking about people who go to a point of entry on the CBP One app, and he's not talking about the parole program, which is actively being used right now if you're Cuban, Venezuelan, Haitian, or I forget the other nationality. So even under his own executive order, you could have 2 to 3 million illegal immigrants coming to the United States every single year, and he's taking the border seriously. It's lying. Yeah. And it is just baiting the American people to believe that he's serious, and he's not. And you got to take this stuff head on.
Can I ask you, by the way, Congressman Byron Donald is joining us on Daybreak 92.5 Fox News. It's our Thursday visit. I'm so glad he took the time to call. I know he's busy. Can I ask you this question, if you don't mind? Because I brought this up yesterday, and I just want to see if I'm crazy. So if you were to look at, and we are told we have a broken immigration system, things need to be fixed, everybody wants to pass something. Just take a step back for just a second. And I just want to ask this question. I'm just being honest. If you were to go to the laws that are on the books right now, my belief is that the number of illegals that are allowed to cross into this country that's on the books now is 0. 0 is the number. Now, some people would say, well, there is no number defined in the laws that are on the books. And I would say, so the suggestion of how many cookie bags can you steal from Publix, is it 5, is it 10, is it 15? No, the answer is 0. Why can't we just focus on that, which is the laws on the books say 0, which means we need enforcement, which means that's what needs to be done because it's already on the books. We don't need anything new. All we need to do is follow what's there. For those that say, well, it's broken. Well, is it? Because the number is 0. Is that wrong?
You're not totally wrong. I think in part when the Democrats say it's broken, because frankly, that's their talking points.
Yeah.
They say it's broken because what they truly want is what Joe Biden has done. That's what they want. The only thing they want now is to formally put that into statute. And that's kind of where the Senate bill, which never got out of the Senate, by the way, because they could never get the votes to get it out of the Senate. That's where that Senate bill was concocted for them to put a process that allows for open borders into law. That's not under federal law today. And so, yes, if you just follow what's on the books right now, you would probably, if you have illegal crossings and some other stuff, you'd probably have around 200,000 to 300,000 illegal immigrants a day if you strictly enforced the law today. Now, my colleagues in the House, and this is why H.R. 2 was crafted, because there are some things that do have to be fixed in border security. And, some of the stuff deals around how long can you detain people, et cetera. Sure. There are some things that have gone into federal court. The ACLU, other leftist organizations have sued and won in federal court. So there are some things that have to be cleaned up, and that we got to do that. On a broader level, there are some of the of the visa programs that have to be modernized, have to be cleaned up. That has to happen as well. we have to actually put into law a biometric exit system. That's a bill I have actually, Drew, because we have a biometric entry system. We take your biometrics when you enter. We don't track when you leave. That's kind of a big deal. You know, Disney tracks when you leave. You know what I mean? Like, Disney tracks when you leave. So does Universal. So does every hotel in America. But the American government doesn't track when people leave America. And I'm not talking about citizens. Well, actually, we kind of do. That's what the passport system does. But we don't do it for illegals. Like, that makes no sense. We need to be doing that. Or people who are in here on visas, we should be tracking that. So I think that there are changes and adjustments that have to be made, but the Democrats do not want to do anything unless you create these programs where massive amounts of people get to come into the United States unchecked. That's what they want. And so they're going to run around telling everybody it's broken, it's broken, it's broken. But the Democrats aren't going to help you build border wall, because that puts a restriction they don't want to see. And look, this isn't about modern politics. It has long been said for a long time that you cannot have open borders and a welfare state. You can't have both. If you want to have a welfare state, you have to secure your borders. If you have no welfare state, then sure, let the borders be open, because people will know you're not getting a free ride coming here. You got to grind and you got to earn it. But America has to choose which way to go. You can't have it both ways, because right now, under Joe Biden, we have open borders and we have a welfare state. And what is happening is that the budgets in our cities are overwhelmed. The budgets in our states are overwhelmed. And now you're starting to have strife among people, because you got black people in Chicago saying, wait a minute, time out. I'm struggling, but you're giving them everything? That doesn't sit well with me. You can't run a society like that. Welcome to Joe Biden's crazy America. And I'm not going to be intimidated by crazy people on the left.
Okay. There we go. All right. Go take care of your busy day. Whatever. I know. I know. I can't even imagine what your day is like, but I know you're busy, and I always appreciate it. And we all appreciate you coming on here each and every week. All right, my friend. Have a good day. I'll see you.
All right. Take it easy, Drew.
All right. We'll see you.